Hey Stats class, in this video we're going to look at how to use a TI calculator to run a hypothesis test about a proportion. So first of all, how do I know this is about a proportion? It's talking about percentages. So that's going to be a hypothesis test about a proportion. Now once I have that determined, I'm going to go to Stat, over to the Test menu, and then a one prop z-test is what we want here. Prop standing for proportion. So one prop z-test, hit enter. Alright, it wants to know what's the claim value. The candy company claims the percentage is equal to 24. So that's the 0.24. Alright, X and N. Alright, it says in a random selection of 100 candies, 23% of them are blue. So N is 100 here. And then the X that we need is, typically it's just given to you how many of the 100 candies are blue. But it's writing them as 23%. But 23% of 100 is 23. So I could just write 23. But in general, if that number, depending on what that number is, you just take the percentage, so 0.23, and you multiply it by n. So n is 100 in this case, so it's just going to end up being 23. All right, but in general, you would do that multiplication. And sometimes it'll give you a decimal. If it does, you just round that decimal and get your x over n. All right, it doesn't say anything about a direction. The company claims the percentage is equal to 24, so it doesn't say less than, greater than, not equal to. So when it does, we're going to select not equal, or sorry, when it doesn't imply a direction, when it doesn't say more than, less than, above, below, we don't see any keyword like that in there, we'll select the not equal. All right, here's our calculation. All right, the null and alternate hypothesis, when you set up your test, it's got the not equal to in there. But that's the alternate hypothesis. So we're going through here looking for H1 with a not equal to in it. So of these right here, the only one with a not equal to for H1 is D. Right, this one has a not equal to, but that's in the null. The null needs equality. Right, so it's D, not equal to in the alternate hypothesis. All right, the next thing it wants to know is the test statistic. So that is the Z that's underneath the test that you just ran. So Z equals negative to 2 decimal places, negative 0.23. Alright, and the last thing that it wants is the p-value. The p-value is right underneath the test statistic. So that is, in this case, 0.815. Alright, notice there are two p's here. It says p and then p hat. This is the sample proportion. This is that 23% are blue. So don't get confused by that. The two you're going to need, the test statistic and p-value, are the first two things that it calculates for you. All right, and then what do? We compare the p-value to alpha. The significance level is alpha. So 0.814, that number is way bigger than 0.01. So that we reject. I'm sorry, we failed to reject. Again, you can do it with your calculator. Just type your p-value in there. Is that less than? Remember, less than is under second math for test. Is that less than? Alpha is 0.01. So again, you don't have to do this on your calculator, but if you struggle with comparing decimals, your calculator will compare them for you. It's telling me that is not true. This number is not less than that. So p-value is not less than alpha. So that means we fail to reject. It's going to be C or D. Why do we fail to reject? Because there is not sufficient evidence. We don't have evidence to reject the null.